Hello to you all. Happy Friday. My goodness, apologies for being late, but the best laid plans, technical tests, the works, but unfortunately to no avail. But we're here. It's Friday. Doing however your week has found you, you are absolutely in the right place. So just relax, chill out. This is your Friday night session with myself, Ashley Oliver, where open-hearted spiritual people can come together to hear from some wonderful speakers and teachers, bringing their perspective and their own unique take on the world we're in and being a spiritual soul navigating through this place. So it's my absolute pleasure to welcome the lovely Smiles this evening. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really good today. It's Friday. So yeah, it's good every day. I feel blessed to be here. So hello everyone, and thank you very much, Ashley.
You're so welcome. So welcome. As I said, this is trying to create a virtual circle online on the internet. So we can't go to our groups, but we're trying to create some virtual space to bring together some amazing speakers from all over the UK, all over the world, that each have their own unique take on their own aspect of their spiritual practice. And this is the place to come together and be with like-minded people. If you're here every week, hello to some of our amazing people who come to Circle and are really dear, beloved friends. Hello to lovely Jennifer, Linda, to Dean, Paula, to Mike, and everybody who is watching on a replay. You have a really fascinating take on your own particular spiritual practice. I know in the advert I talked about your being a shamanic practitioner and working with the plant spirit, but would you like to speak a little bit about how you work specifically and how you came to plant spirit work and kind of the relationship that you form with a very special tree?
Of course. So I'll pick out the bits that just come to my heart now. So my life used to be very different. I used to have a mortgage business, and no amount of money was ever enough. I was go in my brain the whole time. And it all just came crashing down. Suddenly. And at that time, I was offered to go and live in a shamanic healing centre. And I'd already started doing Reiki and practicing Reiki and things like that, and getting into crystals. And so I just went for it. And I lived there for 2 years. And essentially, it was a huge part of my path. And there I learned a lot about the plants, the plant spirits, and some about the shamanic way as well. And that's really where I met the yew tree, which has been so influential in my path too. And it's just been a real journey, because I feel like the plants are always with us. And I think the main thing that I've learned walking this path is that it's so simple. We have a shamanic connection every time we go out the door and walk in nature. It's really walking with the earth, it's walking with the land, it's walking with the cycles, the elements and the turns of the wheel, the seasons. And it's coming to the understanding or the realization that we embody what's around us, and that is to our mirror. And so for me, when I work with the plants or connect with the plant spirits or anything, they become our mirror, because they show us aspects that are deep within. And because we're all connected to everything is connected, everything is vibrating. And so there's no difference between me and mugwort, apart from the different vibration, because they show us an aspect of ourselves. And so it's really understanding that what the plants can show us, and how to respect the plants. Like us, we have many aspects of ourselves. So we have our physical body, and we have our mental we have our brain, we have our emotions, you know, and we have our energy, our spirit. And when we work with the plant spirits or work with any spirit, we are communicating with them in spirit. And so it's a different aspect of their being that we can communicate with that unlocks this whole world of communication and connection and beauty. It's truly incredible. So yeah.
And I think that's what really struck me. And I remember the very first time I ever came across you was an amazing festival that was broadcast on Zoom and on Facebook over the summer. And just hearing you talk about coming across an amazing tree that just felt like a friend and felt like it was leading you to a kind of an untapped part of you. It's so profound. And I just found it so moving because I'd come into my own contact with that same very special tree over the summer as well, and my own exploration into kind of OM and that particular path. So would you mind speaking a little bit to kind of that and that aspect?
Yeah, of course. And so the yew tree was around far before I knew it was consciously in my mind. I think my energy, my spirit, they were communicating in some way, but then I think it took a while for me to realize and for it to come forward into my consciousness, so that when I was ready to start connecting in that way. You see, the plants and the trees, they know better. They know so much. They've been around way longer than we have. So, you know, they could already be communicating with us, and we don't know it. We just need to tap into it. And so the yew tree was there for a while, and a very special lady was connecting with a yew tree at the time, or the yew trees, and I was walking in the woods and I found this just beautiful tree, and I didn't know what tree it was at the time, and I messaged her, and it was the yew tree. And I am absolutely positive that the yew tree has been instrumental in shaking my world upside down, in and out, and you know, giving me some of the deepest healing that I've ever known, and the deepest connection that I've ever known. And you know, it's really important to respect and to understand how magnificent these beings are, because I feel it's so insignificant when I'm with the yew trees. I know it's far bigger, but it transcends so much of what I could even comprehend. And so to be with the yew tree, it's just to be in a completely different dimension. It teaches us so much. You know, it speaks of the cycles of life, and you know, we walk the cycles each day with the seasons, the clock, you know, from night to morning to afternoon, the menstrual cycle for the woman, our cycles of life, death and rebirth. And the yew tree really embodies that and also transcends it. And it also, in my experience, these are things in my experience, and this is something I'd like to get across as well, is that I'm not, it's something that I've learned through lessons, really, is I've learned how I didn't want to be, and that was to tell people, oh, this plant does this and this tree does this and this, because I am already altering or preempting what your experience might be with that tree, and therefore I'm disempowering you. I feel like it's my aim to, if people do come to me to ask how to connect or anything like that, you know, I say go to the tree, because you know, for me to stand in the way between that person and the tree is really putting myself on a pedestal, and I don't want to do that. It's, you can speak to spirit direct, and the trees and the plants direct, and so, you know, it's empowering in that sense. But you know, and also, you know, the yew tree for me also is the gateway to the other world, and you know, the veil we represent, so it transcends the wheel essentially. So if we look at the Celtic wheel and the seasons and the elements. For me, it transcends the wheel. And so that's, for me, it was a while to comprehend that. And there's so much to talk about with the yew tree. I think I could take the whole hour on that. So they're just a few of the things that I've experienced with the yew tree, but really it's worked in my life in different ways.
And we're definitely going to get you to Sorry, there's a little bit of delay on mine. So we're definitely going to do a little bit more work with the yew tree, because it's just something so topical and so special, and it's really interesting, you know. And one thing I absolutely that it's about having that encounter in your own time, and not having all of that amazing inspiration that you get directly from that particular being or that particular element. Definitely going to do a bit more work with the yew tree with Sally in a bit of time. I suppose what I wanted to talk to you as well about is the kind of tools that you would use to have these encounters in nature. So I can see you've got a drum, your drum out in there.
I'm not quite catching what you're saying, but I think you've just asked me about what I would use going into nature to connect with the trees and the plants and the energies. Is that right? Okay, I can hear you now. Can you hear me? Okay. So
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now. I can hear you.
Okay. I've got the crackle again. So I think I got the gist of your question anyway. So to go to connect with the trees, you just need yourself. And that's really how simplistic it is, because you are enough. There are certain rituals that you can do, certain offerings that you and you know, you could sing songs to connect with the trees. There's so much you can do, but for me it's really just standing with the tree, connecting with the tree or the plant, and just offering myself, or re-embodying myself, offering myself in spirit to meet the spirit of the tree. And they speak to you, they do. And also we don't have to be physically with the plants and the trees to connect with them, because we can meet them in spirit world. And so, you know, there is no time or no space. And so, you know, and if we are connected with everything, then when we connect with a tree, we connect with an aspect of ourselves. And so that's in my experience. And so, you know, you connect in spirit realm too, so you don't have to physically be with the trees, but you're enough. Just go and connect with the tree. Yeah.
Wonderful. So on that note, Sally, I know that you've got some of your amazing instruments with you, and you use music an awful lot in your work, in circle work and work with people on an individual level. I know that you have tantalizingly said that we may be able to have a little bit of a moment or a bit of a journey to this evening. Is that something that you'd be able to do for the lovely people watching this evening who may not have seen you work in that way before?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I can play some guitar and do a nice, gentle, guided meditation, which will be really nice. But yeah, I use music a lot.
That would be
brilliant. Okay, so I probably need about 15 minutes for that. So whenever you'd like me
super.
To do it.
Fantastic. Over to you.
Okay.
Over to you. Thank you.
Okay. So if everybody would like to get nice and comfortable, close their eyes and Feel the ground underneath them. Take your time and taking some nice deep breaths. Just be in the present moment. Feel the energy around you. Notice any sensations, any sounds. And on each inhale, I invite you to let your thoughts melt away. And on the exhale, drop down into your heart. I'd like you to imagine a red cord coming up from the ground, the centre of the earth, the centre of the mother, travelling up through the rocks and the stones, all the way up and meeting you at your base, at your root chakra, feeding you with energy that goes up and down the red cords, flowing, holding you, grounding you. Then I'd like you to imagine a white cord coming from the sky, travelling down through the clouds, past the birds and the treetops, and meeting you at your crown chakra, the top of your head. Beginning to fill your head with this white light and relaxing each muscle as it goes. Moving down your forehead, your eyes, your nose, your ears and your cheeks, your mouth, your jaw, relaxing. This white light begins to slowly move through your throat, relaxing those muscles in your shoulders, your elbows, your hands, your fingers, through your heart, your rib cage, going down through your belly, your abdomen, your hips, melting through your thighs, your kneecaps, flowing down, relaxing your calves, your ankles, and finally your feet. Now I'd like you to imagine this white cord growing from your body, beginning to wind itself around you, creating a white cocoon of lights. Now I'd like you to imagine yourself in a place in nature. You may have been there before, but you feel safe here. You look around you, familiarise yourself with the sights, the sounds, the smells, feeling the ground underneath your feet. And across the way you see a tree, a huge tree, with a doorway at the base. So you make your way over. And There are 10 steps leading down, and you begin to make your way, going down the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. You're halfway there, nice deep breath, going down to the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th. You are greeted by a beautiful running stream, trickling over pebbles and rocks, glistening in the sunshine, fish swimming. And on the opposite side of the stream, green pastures, rolling hillsides, the sun is shining, warm on your face, your skin. You follow the stream. The stream is showing you somewhere for you to go. You walk beside it, with that sun on your skin, and you end up at a lake. A lake surrounded by trees and hills. And as you stand there, you look around and you feel a presence. You feel a presence. It makes itself known to you as the spirit of Rose. Flower. And Rose puts his hand on your shoulder, comforting you. Your attention flows to your heart as your heart begins to open. Soothing, Rose is here to help you, guide you with matters of the heart. With you right now. What you're ready for. And as you spend this time with Rose, listen to anything that Rose has to say, to guide you and to teach you, to offer you. And I'll leave you here with Rose for a little while before I come back. Now your time with Rose is coming to an end. So you give your thanks, pay your respects, maybe leave an offering. You can come back here at any time. Rose is always with you. Just call. When you are ready, you begin to walk back to the stream, guiding you back. There's trickling waters over the pebbles and the rocks. Walking back now to the base of the tree, the 10 steps leading up. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, you're halfway there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're back in your place in nature. Remember those surroundings, you're safe, you're sound. Breathing.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. That really was lovely. Thank you so much, Sally.
You're welcome. Thank you to the Spirit of Rose. I didn't know what journey we were going to go on until we were in there. In the moment, always in the moment.
Absolutely, and it fits so beautifully. I know that lovely Jennifer is on from all the way up in the north of the country, and we did a guided meditation earlier or last week, and actually that was Rose as well. So it was so beautiful and absolutely perfect. So thank you so much. Amazing.
Oh wow. Oh, beautiful.
That's the way it works, isn't it? Thank you. So when you work this way energetically, and when you work this way, because I know that you're a healer as well and use lots of different instruments as part of your kind of work with people, does it also work in your circles as well? Because I know that you run women's circles. There we go. So I know that you run women's circles. Is it something that you use music in women's circle work as well, specifically around that kind of divine feminine healing?
Not necessarily just with divine feminine healing, but yeah, I definitely use the guitar, and yeah, the guitar comes in a lot in our meditations. And I do have to say, the women's group that gather together every Wednesday evening, I love every single one of them. It's a great group. They're just such beautiful women. And you know, each week we come into circle and there's a different theme, and we open ourselves and we're vulnerable and we're supported by each other, and it's just beautiful. And it feels like we've grown this community, and you know, new people come each week as well, and it's just, and we have returning women every week, and I just feel truly blessed to be in the space with every single one of them. But yes, musical instruments are involved, but again, really I like to keep it quite simple in my healing sessions. You know, you can just, you know, it's not the body that necessarily does the healing, it's the energy. And so, you know, I don't have to necessarily move for spirit to come through, because it's not me doing the healing, it's spirit, you know. And so really I have to step out the way. My ego has to step aside, because if I start, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, then that's a dangerous game to play, you know. And you have this responsibility with people's well-being and people's healing, which can be very extremely fragile. And so you have to get out of the way. Definitely have to get out of the way. But yeah, drumming can be there, crystals, yeah, sometimes, and definitely music and channeled voice. A lot of channeled voice. So spirit come through, ancestors come through with the voice usually. It's vibration. So yeah.
Wow, I would love to hear more about that, primarily because of through my own journey with you in my own life. And I know many of my friends kind of in the spiritual circles that I'm in are doing a lot of work with ancestry at the moment. So to hear you talk about that channeled vibration and the channeled voice coming through from the ancestors. Would you be able to talk a little bit more about that? Because there are so many people picking their way through this right now.
Yeah, sure. It's like, it's really simple. Again, it's just get out of the way so they can speak, so they can sing through you. You know, it's really as simple as that. And I think sometimes we do try to overcomplicate it. You know, yeah, they can cut you. You just open yourself to it. You open yourself to it, and you know, and just allow it to flow. And don't forget, you have you know, an element of, you have boundaries too. So if there are ancestors, if there is spirit trying to come through and you're busy doing something, it's like you can say not at the moment. You know, it's a two-way street almost. It's like co-creation. I think that was one of the biggest things that was a highlight of last year for me, is that I realized that I wasn't just in service. And so it was me and my little ego all the time going, you know, I'm in service to the plants, I'm in service to spirit, and you know, I do nothing. But actually you come to a realization that there is co-creation that happens. Yeah, because we are one. And so, you know, but it's doing it with integrity and not putting yourself on a pedestal about it, and not gaining an ego, you know. Yeah,
it's really interesting, isn't it? And I haven't yet been able to get on a Wednesday evening to one of your groups on Zoom, but I'm fascinated in the group, even in the microcosm of the energy of your Facebook group, some of the amazing insights that are accessed by some people that are going to their own soul development, to some of the subjects you talk about. And I know we talk about different themes every week, but it's you're talking to some things which maybe aren't spoken about that often within spirituality. And people tend to think of ego as a really bad thing. Like, ego is a really bad thing, I'll try and get rid of the ego, destroy the ego. But actually some of the things you talk about are really, really important, because we're trying to navigate our way through a really difficult time. We're all kind of unfolding our own soul, or unfolding our own journey in this life. And actually it's really important that you find a group of people that you can have that vulnerability with, and work on your own healing without having somebody tell you how to heal yourself.
yeah.
It's about that, like you say, co-creation is beautiful way of putting it.
Yeah, and the medicine's within you. So you are your own healer. You know, it's like somebody can hold space for you. And in my opinion, that's the job of a healer, is to just hold that space. But there was something that you said, and my brain is completely gone. There was something that you said, and I can't remember, but it was really important, and I wanted to touch on it, about the ego. Yeah. And you said about destroying the ego. Yeah, I mean, we can do that, but you know, we still live in 3D world. So what we're going to do, you know, we have to be able to walk both worlds, because we are spirit in a physical body. So, you know, the ego is for me, it's the representation, it's the manifestation of the self. It's how we view ourselves and represent ourselves to other people. And you know, have the big ego and the small ego. So the big ego, we need it sometimes. So for me to talk to you, it's like, you know, you've got to get a bit of confidence, and it's like you need your big ego to say, yeah, I can do this. But then you need the small ego as well to recognize when that's overstepping the mark, and also to, you know, have that humility, but not to go too far. You know, I'm never enough, or, you know, oh, I can't do that, I'm not good enough, you know. So it's balancing. Everything is about balancing. It's everything. You can't have one without the other. It's the light and the dark. There's a duality to almost everything, and you wouldn't know the light without the dark. And so you have to embrace both to be able to walk in balance. And, you know, for me, that's what I my soul calls for, is balance. and truth and heart-centered connection, you know, and things that we think are bad because we've attributed our emotions to them. Like if it's the truth, it's the truth until we come along with our emotions like, oh no, I don't like that, or that doesn't make me feel good, but it doesn't mean that it's bad, because it's just the truth, you know.
Absolutely, thank you. And it was really lovely what you said when we were talking earlier about how that duality is in nature as well, that we seem to put nature on a bit of a pedestal, we make it very other, and we kind of say that everything is beautiful, and you know, whereas actually there is a real balance in the natural world as well. There's predators and prey, there's, you know, things dying off in the autumn and then coming back through that cycle. But as well as that, within the energy and the aspects of the plants themselves, the different allies that we work with. And I was fascinated what you were talking about with the ivy, that I was really drawn to kind of bring in. It's been really present around me, and actually some of the very natural qualities that are part of that particular energy, and working with that, which makes our own difficult bits more easy to access. Actually, it makes it easier to access.
Yeah, they can definitely show us the roots within, in two excuse the pun, but in two ways, you know. They show us the pathway to within. And yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier and I was like amazed that you brought this ivy. And you know, it's like the plants will make their way where they need to, because, you know, as well as the ivy was there at the same time for me and really just totally changed my life. And so, you know, everything for me in, you know, in the earth has a light and a shadow aspect. And that's, for me, that's the same with the plants. And, you know, I mean, if you go into the woods at night, you can be a bit scared, can't you? Or, you know, but say something like ivy, it's like a lot of people, from my experience and what I've heard them say, is that, oh, ivy's an absolute pest, and it constricts trees and plants, and, you know, it restricts as well and suffocates. And actually, the first time I met ivy, I was in a healing session, and I'd worked with holly, the holly plant, for a while, and an ivy came in. And here was my ego stepping in and saying, I'm sure you're supposed to be holly. And no, it was ivy. And so ivy did this, whatever ivy did, and actually showed me that rather than suffocating, it can hold you in a place of healing. Ivy for me is one of those plants that you have to respect, because it can kick your butt, as can most plants, really. It's like we have to step forward to them with the right intention and listen to them. If we're not listening, then we will learn a lesson, and that's with anything in life. But ivy's such a beautiful plant. It's so bright, and it's dark as well. So it's like it's got those two aspects. It's so purifying and cleansing, like really boots out in the energy. So I smudge with ivy as well. I'm not at the moment because I'm pregnant, but I smudge with ivy, and ivy, like mugwort, can induce the period, so it can regulate the cycle. So if you're trying to get pregnant or are pregnant, you know, ivy maybe give a little bit of a wide berth for a little bit. But yeah, it's so purifying and can show you the darkness, can take you down, and it connects everything. I mean, look, if you think about it, it's growing in between trees and plants. It's connecting everything in the forest. It teaches us about connection in this world, the energy world, the spirit world. There's so much to say about ivy.
I just find it so acrobatic as well. There's a particular road that I used to drive along every day going to work, and there were these massive tall, I think they're copper beech, I can't think they're copper beech trees, these huge cathedral-like trees, and then you'd see this ivy like you know, just like abseiling down and just hanging in a straight line down from the tree, and you just think, how is that How is that possible? And yet, like you say, it was connecting the very top of the canopy to the ground, and it was just remarkable. And I remember driving past them every day, just marveling at just how that came to be.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. So you're also talking about some amazing things as well, and kind of different thresholds of people's lives and different kind of energy. So I ask this to everyone that comes on, do you have any advice for spiritually minded people, spiritually curious people who are kind of working with their own energy, working on their own healing, to navigate the time we're in? Because, you know, it hasn't been the easiest of years. Everyone's been kind of knocked on their rear end for whatever reason. And we're kind of coming into we're coming into that kind of the dark cycle of the year, the quiet time of the year. How should we use our time, Sally? How should we use this quiet time to best effect? What advice have you got?
Well, I can tell you how I use my time. My biggest teacher is the world around me, and so you're walking with the seasons, and you're walking with the elements in those seasons, and we embody that. And so rather than disconnecting ourselves from it, it's like it's remembering and it's getting back in touch with nature, with spirit in that way. And so, like, we're in winter, coming up to winter solstice, the height of winter, and you know, this time really can teach us about going within, and that quiet time and that deep healing, the bear in the cave resting. You know, it can teach us about that, and living in that, to being able to live with that darkness and looking at the shadow, you know, because there is light coming in the spring. And actually with winter solstice, it's like, you know, that the shortest day is done, and so actually it's time to look forward to the spring with new beginnings, fresh. It's the element of air, whereas obviously the winter is the element of earth. So, you know, in the winter we can, through that deep healing, through that introspection, we can begin to plant our seeds deep into the earth, so that when they're ready to come up for new beginnings in the spring, so we can flower, so we can bloom, so we can grow. We need to do this work. It's really important. But you've got to go at your own pace. You know, it can be, I mean, especially during this time, I've certainly noticed with myself a fragility, just because of the isolation and everything. And I don't mind isolation, so I'm like, how are other people dealing with it? You know, but it has given us that opportunity to go deeper. But yeah, walking with the seasons, the elements, bringing them into balance, and not even just in the physical sense, but in the energetic sense. Like, what does water teach us in the West? So what does water teach us? Teach us about fluidity, you know, lots of different things, cleansing, deep healing, deep into the waters, you know. And the spring of the air shows us how to move, be movable, you know, and transition. You know, the sun, the height of the sun is creativity, passion, could be inner child. And so all of these different elements, even though we see them all the time, and it's like, actually energetically, when we start to look at them in that way, we can also incorporate that into creating balance in our own lives. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, my goodness. So it's doing the thing, isn't it? It's doing the thing, getting outside into nature, going and just doing a bit of deep listening for what you really need, and kind of embracing rest. And oh my goodness, I had it loud and clear today about rest. So your message is yet more kind of giving more power to that voice inside about my own medicine. So it's just creating that space to be able to hear it, isn't it? And to take what you need. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I suppose we can't not really talk about some of your workshops you've got coming up. So I know you've got a drum birthing workshop, and I'm really excited about this because my mum and I actually went on a spiritual retreat, spirit quest earlier this year, where I know that my mum, if you're watching, bought her very first drum, and it felt like a really monumental moment to kind of choose a drum and a beater. So could you talk a little bit about drum birthing and what it is and why it's different from going and buying a drum?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, firstly, the drum's going to call you anyway, so it's listening. And again, your ego not leading it, because there's no right or wrong way. If a drum calls to you and it's already been birthed, then that's, you know, that's no less of a bond that can be formed. But, you know, like birthing the drum is birthing this sacred instrument, this sacred tool into existence that can teach you so much. I mean, the drum's my teacher, you know, and so this was the first drum that I made, and this is a horse drum, and
Beautiful.
And actually, I had to rebirth this drum because, you know, I'm a human, right? And it was near the start of my path. And I birthed this drum, and, you know, you're not supposed to play them. You're not supposed to play them for a certain amount of time. And I was impatient. And so I started playing my drum, and it hadn't dried properly yet. And so what happened is that it went slack. And I'd already actually in the drum birthing process gone through this whole internal inner child process that was so difficult during the day because I just wanted everything to be perfect. It had to be done right because it's so important. This sacred tool, this being that's going to come into existence, I having responsibility for it needs to be right, Sally. You need to get this right. And so it taught me. It taught me some lessons, and they can show you. And, you know, whether we play the drum for journeying, for music, whatever it is, you know, it's an instrument, and it's your intention and what you use it for, which kind of gives it that name. So, you know, medicine drum, shamanic drum, sacred instrument, it's really what your intention is. But for a day of drum birthing, it could be truly special, and everybody has a different experience. And so it is quite a long day. It's quite a long process, but, you know, we work with the hide and the uncut hide. So we cut the hide ourselves into the shape that we are going to birth the drum with. And we connect with everything throughout the process. So we connect with the animal, we connect with the hide, we connect with the hoop, what wood the hoop is, you know, and we do it in ceremony, and we go through this whole process through the day, and we meet the spirit of the drum at the end as well, the spirit of our drum. And then obviously, and that's just the start of it. So then you take it home, and, you know, after 2 weeks when you can play it, it's like that's when, you know, the journey really begins, because it starts to show you things. And for me, the drum is so important for me, with journeying and showing me things. And, you know, it becomes the instrument, the channel to which I can journey, you see, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I can feel that, and I can see you lovingly kind of, you definitely have such a strong bond. It's very maternal. It's very, very maternal.
Yeah.
And it sounds fascinating the way that it's built of layers, and the component part, you know, the sum of the parts and the energy of all the different elements that go into it, and it being a ritual. So I should imagine it's a long day, because that's an intense amount of work from the start to finish, every aspect of it. It sounds amazing. When are you running that? And I'm going to put the link to your website on after we finish.
So best probably to go to my page, the Plant Spirit page. All the events go up on there. I'll just put on my drum page as well. But I'm looking to start the official drum birthings from May. Obviously, I've got a little one in the belly. coming. So she's due in March, and so gives me a little bit of time. But you know, if there is availability before, I mean during January or February, then I will hold it. But also I will be birthing the drums in the meantime as well. So if any of the drums that, you know, have already been birthed call to people, then they're most welcome to buy one. And also I can commission as well. I don't really like the word commission with birth, but it doesn't sound quite right. But you know, if you feel called to have one made for you, and you know, and I can really connect in and tune in, and that energy be there throughout the whole day in the process with this drum, bringing it to life, then you know I can also do that as well. So yeah, and drum circles are beginning from January, the singing drum circles. So you know, I felt there was a real need for drum circles with medicine music, songs, chants, and all of that. And you don't have to have a drum. You don't have to want to sing. You can simply come and receive as well, because it's so healing. So everybody's welcome.
Wonderful. Can't advocate enough how beautiful it is, actually, everybody. And so I'm going to put that link on. So if anyone's interested, they can book onto a course, they can commission a drum and have a look at other things that you've got. So thank you so much. Oh, I love that. That's a great point. She said it's not a commission, it's an exchange. Yes. Yes.
That's a good word. I like that way better. So, yeah. I'm gonna use that if that's all right. But just to say as well, obviously I have some plant spirit journeys, shamanic journeys coming up as well in January. I have a 4-week journey with different plants and trees, and that really is the base of a lot of what I do, is the shamanic work and working with the medicine wheel and the plants. And so, you know, I've got a workshop this Sunday, which is I can't remember what I called it now. My brain's a baby brain, you see.
You're doing brilliantly.
Winter's Wild Woman, a shamanic immersion. So we've got that on the Sunday, and then I'll run face-to-face workshops again from May. So I'll be putting them in soon. So watch out for those. Yeah, as well as plant ceremonies and one-to-one work too. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Do you know, talking to you and with my own kind of ritual work and ceremony work and coming at it from a completely different angle, it's been so inspiring talking to you about the significance of the plant spirit, not only the significance of the plant for what it's being, how it's working in the ceremony, but the energy and spirit of the plant coming and being a participant of it has completely changed the way that I personally am approaching some of the ceremonies that I'm writing. So thank you so much. It's been really beautiful to talk to you for all the work that you do as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you everybody who's joined us this evening, and for your comments and your thoughts, and for being part of Sally's lovely meditation and journey that she led us on, which was wonderful. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a lovely week, everybody, and thank you so much to you, Sally, for your time this evening and your care. It's been a beautiful evening. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Ashley, and thank you for everybody as well. Thank you. Beautiful space, Ashley. Beautiful space. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, good night, everybody. We'll see you next Friday. Have a safe week. Go well. Be blessed and look after yourselves. See you later. Cheerio. Bye, everybody. Bye.